Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. James Comey, the former director of the FBI, just testified before the United States Senate. Fox News is breathlessly awaiting the appearance of Donald Trump's outside lawyer. Everybody else is, talking about what was said. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. There's a piece over at the Washington Post, actually, that it's titled 7 Takeaways from Comey's Extraordinary Testimony about what Trump told him to do, that I think is absolutely fascinating. One of the first things he started out saying was that he was quite certain that Russia had attempted to interfere in our elections, but there had been no votes changed, was the phrase. I'm not sure how you figure that out when you've got unauditable voting machines, and I'm not just talking about Russia. This election coming up in Georgia has me tremendously concerned, and my concern there is with, frankly, with the Republican Party. But in any case, he said that, and that needs an independent, that needs a serious investigation. We need to get this stuff out. He also said he thought the president was a liar. This is pretty amazing. He said he was taking notes because he was honestly concerned that Trump might lie about their meeting. Here's a clip of that. If you can play the audio off my computer, Troy.
And although the law required no reason at all to fire an FBI director, the administration then chose to defame me and, more importantly, the FBI by saying that the organization was in disarray, that it was poorly led, that the workforce had lost confidence in its leader. Those were lies, plain and simple. And I am so sorry that the FBI workforce had to hear them, and I'm so sorry that the American people were told them. I worked every day at the FBI to help make that great organization better. And I say help because I did nothing alone at the FBI. There are no indispensable people at the FBI. The organization's great strength is that its values and abilities run deep and wide. The FBI will be fine without me. The FBI's mission will be relentlessly pursued by its people, and that mission is to protect the American people and uphold the Constitution of the United States.
And that might be making Donald Trump and friends swallow rather hard. He also said that the way that Donald Trump handled Comey's firing, this again, this from this Washington Post piece, which is a really good summary piece, and they put up the video here that I'm playing the clips from, what prompted Comey to speak out was the way that Donald Trump handled the firing. And by the way, if you want to talk about this or pretty much any other topic in the news, feel free to give us a call. But I wanted to just summarize, this, what I've seen, what I saw and heard up until noon when we went on the air about an hour ago, and what some pretty good journalists are pulling together. Here's Comey talking about the whole tapes thing. And
here's the question: you're big, you're strong.
Feinstein.
I know the Oval Office, and I know what happens to people when they walk in. There is a certain amount of intimidation. But why didn't you stop and say, Mr. President, this is wrong. I cannot discuss this with you?
It's a great question. Maybe if I were stronger, I would have. I was so stunned by the conversation that I just took it in. And the only thing I could think to say, because I was playing in my mind, because I was going to remember every word he said, I was playing in my mind, what should my response be? And that's why I very carefully chose the words. And look, I've seen the tweet about tapes. Lordy, I hope they're tapes. I remember saying, I agree he's a good guy, as a way of saying I'm not agreeing with what you just asked me to do. Again, maybe other people would be stronger in that circumstance, but that's how I conducted myself. I hope I'll never have another opportunity. Maybe if I did it again, I would do it better.
So a little self-depreciating comment, but he says that he found out that, 4 years into his tenure as 10-year tenure as chief of, as the director of the FBI, that he found out that he was fired by watching TV. He said he was confused as to why he was fired. He was, the original narrative that was put out by the White House was that he was fired because he was incompetent and that the staff had lost faith in him and he was a showboater and all this kind of stuff. And then he saw Donald Trump being interviewed by Lester Holt saying, well, I fired him because I wanted to get that whole Russia thing off the board. Anybody who was alive during Watergate should know that's not how you do that. And Donald Trump was definitely alive during Watergate. But anyhow, so there was that. And he talked about how he leaked out comments, the contents of his notes during one of the Trump meetings in the hopes of provoking a special counsel. Now, this is fascinating. This has got to be upsetting to the Republicans.
The president tweeted on Friday, after I got fired, that I better hope there's not tapes. I woke up in the middle of the night on Monday night, because it didn't dawn on me originally, that there might be corroboration for our conversation. There might be a tape. And my judgment was I needed to get that out into the public square. And so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel. And so I asked a close friend of mine to do it.
And was that Mr. Wittes?
No, no.
Who was that?
A good friend of mine who's a professor at Columbia Law School.
So that's that. Number 4 from this rundown from the Washington Post today, the Democrats are pretty sure that Comey firing is the key to what the president did wrong. Ron Wyden said, I believe the timing of your firing stinks. Senator Mark Warner, the Democrat from Virginia, said that it was ultimately shocking and went on through this, all this. Number 5, Republicans aren't really trying to defend the president. This is the point that I was making to Congressman Pocan, and he was agreeing with it in the last hour. And that is that watch very carefully the fringes and the center of the Republican political world here in Washington, D.C. When you see it, it'll first start on the fringes. It'll start with the Steve Kings of the world, right? The Louis Gohmerts, the more outspoken Republicans who are not taken all that seriously. They will start praising Mike Pence. And then when that praise of Mike Pence first begins and then gets picked up by somebody like Paul Ryan or, somebody else in the senior leadership of the Republican Party, then you know that the Republicans have decided that Donald Trump is too much baggage. He ain't worth it. He's dragging us down. He's hurting us. He's killing our brand. And we need to get back to the business of giving billionaires tax cuts, screwing the average working American so that we can take that money and give it to our billionaire buddies, screw American small businesses by letting giant monopolies get bigger and bigger and bigger. That we need to get back to that business because that's what Republicans do. And you can't do that when you're being distracted by a president who, has no message discipline and who half of his early staff or his campaign was contaminated by Russia or by whatever. And also, Comey essentially confirmed the existence, everybody knows the dossier, but that they were seriously looking at this dossier, of ways that Trump might be compromised. Very, very strange stuff. So the thing that the Republicans are going to jump on is that Comey talked about how after Bill Clinton met with Loretta Lynch asked Comey to stop referring to the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server, and they had actually opened a criminal investigation into this, to stop referring to it as an investigation and start referring to it as a matter. So, whether that came out of her conversation with Bill Clinton or not, I don't know. I mean, she and Clinton both denied that they talked about it at all. But, it's possible to communicate things without even saying words. But that's going to be the thing that the Republicans are going to jump all over. It's ancient history in my mind. I mean, this is just, it's just dead and over. But I've been, watching Fox's chyrons on this Number 6, the Republicans are critical of why Comey didn't speak up sooner. Susan Collins, the Republican from Maine, she said the president never should have cleared the room, but I remain puzzled by your response. And, you know, it goes on with that. And basically, this I think is interesting. No side comes off well in Comey's telling of events. You know, this is from the 5-minute fixed newsletter in the Washington Post. To hear Comey tell it when Republicans are in charge and the FBI was investigating Republicans, he was pressured by Republicans to shape his investigation. And when Democrats were in charge and he was investigating Democrats, he was pressured by Democrats to shape his investigation, which is essentially what I was just telling you. And this is new and significant. It suggests that no side is immune to meddling in the FBI's independent investigations. Comey testified that when he was investigating Hillary Clinton's emails, Loretta Lynch, quote, directed me not to call it an investigation, but instead to call it a matter. And then, of course, all this stuff with Trump. So no real winners here. I think the whole thing is fascinating.